Ho ho ho, Merry Christmas, even though some people think it's already been Christmas since October. Now I don't know about you, but when I think about Christmas, I think of the Grinch. So this year I decided to watch every Grinch movie ever made and decide once and for all which one's the best. And for those unaware of the Grinch, read a book.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
So as we all know, except for those losers who need to read a book, the Grinch originated from a Dr. Seuss book. So I'm going to be watching and rating these on how accurate it is to the original story, the overall quality, and how much I like it. Obviously. Hi. If you watch my Twitch streams, you probably have heard me talk about a secret project. Well, that secret is no longer a secret. Secret's out. That secret is that me and my friend Bobby, we started a band called Software Failure. We're going to release music next year, but as of now, there's a YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that if you want. So feel free to do so. Anyway, back to the video. Merry Christmas.
You really are a heel.
The year's 1966, the Beatles just put out Revolver, and now TV Land knows about the Grinch. This is the one I'm most familiar with, as my grandpa's a big fan of the Grinch, and this is his favorite. The movie starts and it's Christmas, and the Grinch doesn't like it. Who would have thought? So believe it or not, the Grinch decides to put a stop to Christmas and gets the idea to dress up like Santa due to some sporadically falling snow on his dog Max. He sews his little costume up and little Maxie decides to take a seat on the sewing machine and his tail threads through the machine and he's a little too chill about it. Now that the Grinch is all outfitted with the newest North Polian fashion, all he needs to do is find a reindeer. But believe it or not, there's no reindeer in Whoville. So Max will do. So after the look's all sorted, they venture their way down to Whoville. Something I will say about Max is that he's very cheery for what the Grinch puts him through. But once they get down to Whoville, the Grinch starts going around and he does his Grinch thing and steals everything from everyone. And once he's done stealing, it's now morning time. But Christmas still came. What the heck? Then the Grinch realizes that Christmas isn't all about the presents and then his heart explodes or something. I don't know. He recovers from his heart attack and goes back to Whoville with everyone's stuff and celebrates Christmas. He even gets to cut the roast beast. This movie is very solid. It's essentially the book put into movie form. Also, I've watched this one a lot, so there's sentimental value there. For that reason, it's a solid S tier. You really can't beat it.
You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch.
The year's 1977. The Queen just... Queen just put out news of the world and the Grinch is back, baby. And this Christmas, it's Halloween. So step aside, Nightmare Before Christmas. We got a new movie to question whether or not it's a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie. In Whoville, it's real windy and real smelly, so all the Whos get scared and hide in their houses. Because of this, the Grinch thinks it's a good night for Grinch night. Whatever the hell that is.
Max, go bring the paraphernalia wagon.
Sounds a little dirty to me, but alright. Now with Josiah and Mariah and their son Euchariah suggests that they call the Grinch alarm system, but the line's busy. We cut back to the Grinch and he's ready to execute Grinch night. Again, whatever that is. Then he breaks into some weird musical number about a ball or something. I don't know. You know how I said in the last movie Max was too happy? Well, now he's too depressed. You can tell just by looking at him, but in case you don't pick up on it, Max sings a song saying he wished he could go back in time and never meet the Grinch.
What am I doing here? Why am I the slave of this Grinchy old crock? And I say how I wish I could turn back the clock.
Then Euchariah has to use the euphemism and gets blown away and meets the Grinch. And yes, they call the bathroom a euphemism. Why? I don't know. Also, Euchariah thinks that he can see better without his glasses, but Josiah is adamant he wears his glasses. I don't know how this is important to the story, but it's an ongoing thing, sort of. The Grinch disregards Euchariah, but he becomes fond of the Grinch and keeps trying to get his attention, and the Grinch invites him on top of the paraphernalia wagon. Just a PSA, if some green dude invites you on top of his paraphernalia wagon, don't go in. The Grinch opens the latch on top of the paraphernalia wagon and sends Euchariah to some circle of hell, and then he escapes and realizes that the wind is dying down, so the Grinch can no longer do Grinch night. Again, whatever the hell that is. Euchariah walks off and goes home, and Max runs away. Good for him. So how does this rank against the original? It's absolutely an F tier. It's more about Euchariah than it is the Grinch. The narrator is annoying because he narrates it like a book, and Euchariah is annoying too because he seems like a bit of a know-it-all. So at the end of the day, it's probably a good thing no one knows about this.
You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel.
The The year's 1982, Michael Jackson just put out Thriller, and this movie's a crossover, much like Beat It on Michael Jackson on Thriller, because that was a crossover because Eddie Van Halen plays a solo on that song. In this one, the Grinch wakes up happy, but the mirror Grinch isn't happy about his happiness, so the Grinch recites the Grinch's oath, and then goes out driving to look for someone's day to ruin. He runs into the Cat in the Hat, and since the cat doesn't know the Grinch's name, he calls him Mr. Greenface, and the Grinch doesn't like it. The Grinch messes with the cat over the course of the movie, and then when the cat's had enough, he decides to go to the Grinch's house and sing a song about the Grinch's mom, and the Grinch then has a change of heart, and decides to stop messing with the Cat in the Hat. What to say about this one? It's bad. It's not as bad as the last one, but I still really didn't care for it. I'd put this one at a D tier because if you're in the mood for something about the Grinch and or the Cat in the Hat, it's a decent choice, but one of their standalone things is much better than this will ever be.
You're a monster, Mr. Grinch.
For those unaware, all the movies up to this point were all TV movies, so now the Grinch is on the big screen. For this movie, I'm going to be comparing it to the 1966 Grinch as well as the book because in case you didn't notice, the last two movies didn't have really anything to do with it. This one takes place around the 1000th jubilation, and one of the biggest differences is that instead of the Grinch just being a dick and wanting to ruin Christmas, he has a reason. Not only does he get embarrassed at the jubilation, there's also some deep-rooted childhood trauma, like any good movie. Also in this one, he seems to be more of an urban legend, and Cindy Lou Who wants to know why the Grinch doesn't like Christmas. In Cindy Lou's pursuit to learn about the Grinch, we learn about his trauma. When he was in school, he got made fun of because he was 8 years old and had a beard, and I'm 20 and I don't even have a shadow of the beard, so Grinch, consider yourself lucky. But because he got made fun of because of his beard, he tried shaving and it didn't turn out great. That along with trying to give Martha Mayhew a Christmas present, he decided to run from civilization and live on top of Mount Crumpet for the rest of his life. Then the Grinch is nominated as a holiday cheermeister, and after some apprehension, he decides to go to the jubilation. But it doesn't turn out quite the way he expected. Also, he gets a razor as a present. Safe to say, that didn't go over too well. After all that, he then decides to ruin Christmas. He starts by burning down the town Christmas tree. Then when he gets back to Mount Crumpet, he decides to do his traditional Grinchy thing. From here on out, it's pretty much faithful to the book and the original movie, and we all know the story. The Grinch has a change of heart and they lived happily ever after. The end. Overall, this movie's great. It both captures the original story and it embellishes it enough to where it all seems like something that would work within the Grinch universe. Also, Jim Carrey as the Grinch is phenomenal. It's a perfect match, and if anyone else tried to do a live-action Grinch, it would simply fail because of Jim Carrey's physicality along with his humor already. If you take away the makeup and the guise of the Grinch, and it was just Jim Carrey playing some guy named Richard Johnson, this would just be another Jim Carrey movie, and that is awesome. This movie does have a leg up on the 1966 version by way of being a movie. Granted, the other one's a TV movie, but this one is obviously made for the big screen and it executed it perfectly. But growing up, I always ignored this one because whenever I'd watch The Grinch, it was usually at my grandparents' house, and my grandpa always preferred the 66 version. This one gets a very solid A tier. Maybe it's because this one's relatively new to me and I'm starting to warm up to it. It simply doesn't get an S tier because of my nostalgia for the other one, but it is still really good.
Your heart's an empty hole.
Hey, remember about 4 months ago when I said I'd talk about this one later? It's later. The movie opens on the Grinch waking up and he asks Max to make him a cup of coffee and the main theme plays.
I mean one, you really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus, you're as charming as an eel. Mr. Grinch.
Oh fuck. Sure, I'm not a huge fan of hip hop, but this isn't good. Not for the Grinch. If you want to modernize it, at least make it rock. Sure, hip hop's more in the forefront of radio, but to keep in the vein of the original, rock's your best bet. Other than that, there's a lot of other differences in this one. One of which being the way the Grinch goes about being Santa. It's much more drawn out in this one as opposed to the other ones where he comes up with the idea and he's instantly Santa. In this one, he does research on Santa, researches what to steal, and goes looking for reindeer, which he does find. But when testing the sleigh, they find the reindeer's family, so Max becomes a reindeer. Hey, remember how in the reboot video I said there was a subplot behind the main plot? Well, that plot's that Cindy Lou Who wants Santa to help make her mom happy. Not in that way, pervert. She's a single mom. I guess that doesn't really make a difference. So she and her friends devise a plan to trap Santa, not unlike the 2002 hit, The Santa Trap. But instead of capturing Santa, she captures the Grinch, and that's when he has his change of heart. He still continues with the plan, but when he sees that no one's affected by it, that's when his real change of heart happens, and he has another heart attack. Loser. Then the sleigh almost falls off a cliff, when a familiar face returns to save the day. Then he returned all their stuff and they lived merrily ever after. Also, at the Christmas dinner, the Grinch brings Max, and there's a scene of a bunch of kids playing with Max, and after watching 5 movies of him being tormented, this is a great scene to watch. Overall, this one isn't the worst one, but of the 3 real Grinch movies, this is my least favorite. Maybe it's because this one's made for today's kids and it's newer than the other ones. This one just feels too childish for me. Cause I'm a big adult now. That along with Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch. In my eyes, this wasn't a great casting choice. It should have been someone with a more gruff voice because to me his voice is just too nasally for the Grinch.
If he can deliver Christmas to the whole world in one night, then I can certainly steal it from little old Whoville.
But even though I wasn't the biggest fan of it, I'll still give it a C tier because I really like the ending.
Your brain is full of spiders, you've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch.
So overall, the 3 main Grinch movies are really good no matter how you look at them. Even though I wasn't a huge fan of the 2018 version, I'm sure this was some kid's first introduction to the Grinch and now loves the character. Will I watch it again? Probably not. It turned out well, it's just not my can of hoo hash. But if there's something we did truly learn, it's that Grinch spin-offs don't really work. Grinch Night and Cat in the Hat were kind of tough for me to watch because when I think Grinch, I think Christmas. When you take them out of that, it just feels weird and out of place, and if some sort of Grinch spin-off were to work, it would be something called Grinch's First Christmas, or something along those lines. That being something following the Grinch the year after he tries to steal Christmas, and he's able to celebrate his first full Christmas with Max, Cindy Lou Who, and her family. But outside of something Christmas related, I don't really see it working. So if you're looking to watch a Grinch movie this holiday season, I suggest one of the 3 main Grinch movies. And now a word from some stupid teenagers, stupid band.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go! Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy now.
It wasn't our greatest, but it was good.
That was probably our greatest, actually.
Was it? I messed up a lot.